Big weekend of footy, big weekend of Logies and music, and you were taken by the biggest boy band in the world, Samuel, to the point where you were transformed last night. What's your understanding of One Direction as a musical act? And your new group, One Direction. Come on.
I hadn't heard of the illustrious group until last night.
No?
I would be the only person in the world that hasn't heard of One Direction, have I?
Who would be the equivalent in your day?
Oh, the Drifters. Maybe the Platters. Guy Lombardo and the Canadians. Actually, I sell him short the Royal Canadians, Guy Lombardo, and the Royal Canadians.
You used to get along to those sort of gigs in your day?
Yeah, we used to go to the local hall.
What's the best you've been to?
I went to a program dance once at the Geelong Town Hall.
What?
Well, you get a card and you meet
what, they tell you who
prospective suitors. No, and you walk around.
Prospective suitors. Did you pitch some woo, Sam, on the night?
Did I? What did you say?
Pitch woo. Isn't that what they did with your suitors?
Pitch woo.
Well, you got a card full of girls that you got
badges, sheriff badges.
Shush. Don't say that.
I don't even know what that means.
Man's an idiot.
Well, I don't even know what that means.
What's a card? Is that who
you get a program
dance with?
This is what happens. You used to go to dances, and you would get a card, and you would see people that you wish to have a dance with. And
well, you had to book them.
You
booked them on your card.
You'd walk up to.
You did not.
Speed dating.
There's another word for that.
But please,
so hang on. I want to hear this. You'd walk up and do what? You'd write what on your card?
You'd say, are you booked for dance number 6 or 4? And they'd say, no, I've got number 4. You think I'm making this up?
No, I'm
These are
fascinated.
called. This is what's called a program dance.
What sort of dances were they?
Well, they're the waltzes or the Pride of Erin or the barn dance or the
Bossa Nova.
Well, I don't think the Bossa Nova was a little racy in those days, and that's what you do. You say, look, could I have dance number 4? So no, I'm booked for dance number 4. Number 8.
You have to get in early, wouldn't
you do. And all
the real good ones.
All the really good-looking ones, they're booked out by the time the gates open.
Don't tell me you didn't go in and pull rank on a couple.
People left.
Could you pre-book, Sam? Could you get in early before the night started?
The smarter operators would stand just in where the turnstiles were, and as the good-looking dancers came in, they would be snapped up. And
could you book them for more than one?
And of course, you could get dance number 8 and 12 with Fatty Boom. Men and women.
Come on.
Men and women, Gary.
Yeah.
Some of the women would go up to the men.
Oh, could they book as well?
They could.
You would have been a hot item in your day, wouldn't you?
I was relegated to maybe
now, Sam,
9 or 13.
Sam, if you were one of these booked dancers, you actually clicked.
Do you think I'm making this
No,
up?
I don't. If you clicked with the person you were dancing
Yes.
with, could you then just cut one from the herd and away you go?
That's when the angst started, Chief. That's why I don't think they had real security in those days, but they had ushers that came around and said, now you must honour the dance because this is how this whole thing works. If people just cut out and go and get in the car and leave, you've got a whole lot of patrons standing there with cards and they're looking at them.
They can't stop you from leaving. That's false imprisonment.
Well, they can't, but I mean, no.
In the spirit of the...
It's intent, and it's you're asked to remain and fulfil the program, and then you can whip away. Then you can whip away.
Where did they go to?
Was there an after dance card?
How long did they go for? What time would you wrap up the official part of the evening?
Sometimes they'd go till 10:30.
And would you take some refreshment during the night or not?
You would take maybe a thermos.
Little hip flask?
Not a hip flask, Chief. Alcohol was prohibited. You could take Tarex.
Back in the Prohibition era.
Tarex and Fanta and stuff like that. And, people would bring thermoses in with
sandwiches
hot
and
drinks.
scones and
something like that. Finger food.
That's delightful.
And the women used to dress up to a T. They were very. This was their fashion statement and a chance to show what the fashions of the day were.
If you say you were tracking square with one, Forsler, and you wanted to go,
you wouldn't be there, Gary.
You wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't go if you had one, would you?
If you were going out with someone, you'd hardly go to a program dance.
Well, that'd cut your social activities back a bit.
Well, can you imagine going with your betrothed and her getting booked up for 12 dances and you watching her doing the hoopla around and round and round? and you'd say to her, she came by for the third time, "Hey, Dale, that's enough. Hey, mate, go away. That's my missus." It doesn't work like Gary. You've got to be single and looking.
Well, but would there be many gigs on in town? What if that was the only gig on? Would you be?
Well, this was at the Palais in Geelong. If people ever went to the Palais in Geelong, they used to have big dances there.
I think we should bring them back, Chief.
So surely the modern day equivalent is speed dating, is it? Where you go and you have a chat for a few minutes, and then you take the number, and then you go through the...
That'd be it.
Yeah.
This is a much more cumbersome way of trying to get onto someone.
Chief would be a hot item at a card dance.
A program dance. How would the Chief go, Sam?
Would he be booked up quickly?
God, he'd be sitting up in the bleachers like people look up and say, "Shit, what is it?" Big King Kong had come down. They'd say, "Christ." They'd be calling the fire brigade to get him down out of the bloody attic. "Come down, Chief, please. You're scaring everyone." "Shut up." Oh. Down he comes, grabs a wench by the hair and back up into the loft. "Send her down now, Chief. That's enough." Fireman and... God, dear me.
Come on, Duke. Get on this show.
Bring a big Pantechnicon into the crate and take him down to the zoo and just put a dart into his eye. Just pacify him.
How do you move on from that? TripleM.com.au, you can...
someone just likes to disbelieve that. Please, someone who ever went to a program dance at Geelong...
What's our number again?
Did you go with your teammates, Sam, or was it a little solo operation outside the footy club?
Sometimes I work freelance, sometimes I work incognito. Sometimes
who was your running mate at Geelong? Who was your...
No, there was...
Who was your wingman?
You would have had one, wouldn't you?
Well, it was plenty of Bill...
Oh, I know who it was.
Dougie?
Dennis Marshall was your wingman.
No.
Doug Wade?
Samuel?
Dennis was up.
What was your... Sam,
Dennis was what?
what was your strike rate like at these nights?
To book program dances?
No.
I booked a lot of dances. Very, very
Did
seldom
you?
did I...
Any follow-up calls?
Yeah.
Very seldom did we open fire.
We need to take a break.
Hey, Duke, before we 133353, if anyone...
Yes, if you think I'm making that
I'm
up...
not sure that's our audience, to be perfectly frank, but if anyone happened to be there...
I was going to say that wouldn't be our audience,
No,
but
maybe
someone
the
might...
son of.
The son of or the daughter of might verify the fact that their parents actually went to a program dance in Geelong.
133353.
That's
Or
the number.
granddaughter.
You can see the Foss. He caught the train in tonight on TripleM.com.au. I've got a tweet that has come in for Sam as well, spotted in Middle Park. We need to talk some footy as well because this is...
We're going to talk footy. Oh, count me out.
It's Carlton and Collingwood.
We've got the old enforcer, the 300-game superstar from Geelong, Garry.
Let me tell you, Jim. First night out, he was just a little edgy.
I thought he was.
A little nervy back
Yes.
in the big league. But I tell you tonight, he strode to the crease.
I didn't
He
stride to
said,
anything.
"I'll take block,
Viv
you get
Richards
up the
style.
other end," and just proceeded to knock up 100 in a session.
He did.
And took a few off the Chief as we went, which we liked, and gave us a story about dance cards.
Hey, Bill,
That's a
Garry,
true story.
The thing about that...
I didn't say it wasn't. I loved it.
The thing about that is I thought when I was listening in the car to Sam talking about going to the dance in Geelong and having to book the dances with the girls, I thought I was discussing the same topic with my own father and mother, who have on many occasions told me how they used to go to the same dance because they lived in South Perth together and never danced with each other until they sort of caught up later.
Stixie Brayshaw let Mrs. Bray have a bit of a run round.
Well, they didn't know each other at this stage, Garry, and all I can
Until they met on dance number 13 at the Perth Municipal Hall, they suddenly flourished.
All I can think, Foss, is that maybe old Sticks must have thought there was better around. That's all I can think, and maybe later on came to the realisation that Joni was the one.
I think old Stixie would have gone in and kept a very close eye on Joan as she worked her way through her card.
Oh, don't worry, she would have. But I was with the Chief. I was interested in what happened afterwards, Chief, because 10:30's an early finish for a 20-year-old man. What happened after that for?
Well, the man who used to spin the records
yes.
through the amplifier, he was only he was only
booked till 10:30.
That's right.
Well, what did you do though after that?
And then he packed up and had to be home.
I think he and Dennis Marshall used to just whip out.
And then someone used to play a piano in the corner, just light background music, and maybe an accordion every now and again, and a harpsichord. And they used to do that in the corner, and it was background music, not stuff you'd dance to. And then the conga line would start, and then you'd all just wind your way through the stairs and the assembled furniture there and arrive back at where you started.
A couple of lasses abruptly stopped in the conga line, did they, Foss?
No, that's right. No, you're expelled. If you stopped in the conga line, it's like not completing the line, you're asked to leave. You have to keep it moving.
I enjoyed it enormously.